Long ago, before the maps were drawn, America was a land of giants. But none were bigger than the baby boy delivered to the coast of Maine. It took 5 storks just to carry him. When he landed, the ground shook like an earthquake.
His parents were surprised, to say the least.
Little Paul grew fast. Every time he crawled, he reshaped the landscape. He was too big for the house, so his father built him a cradle on the ocean. The Atlantic Ocean was the only bathtub big enough for him.
But whenever Paul tossed and turned in his sleep,
he created the legendary tides of the Bay of Fundy.
as a boy, Paul was clumsy. A simple stroll could flatten a forest.
He was lonely. Being a giant isn't easy when you're the only one. Then came the winter of the blue snow. It was so cold. Even the snow turned blue.
The whole world seemed frozen in a magical sapphire silence.
Paul went out for a walk, his breath freezing in the air. Suddenly, he spotted something strange in a drift. A baby ox, cold and alone, turned blue by the frost. Paul's heart melted. He scooped the little creature up. He tucked him inside his coat, close to his warm heart. He nursed the calf back to health by the fire.
The calf survived, but he remained blue forever.
Paul named him Babe. And just like Paul, Babe was no ordinary ox.
Babe grew so fast, you could actually hear him getting bigger.
Together, they were the greatest team the woods had ever seen. Paul built the biggest logging camp in history. The biggest camp needed the biggest kitchen. The pancake griddle was so wide you couldn't see across it.
To grease it, the cooks strapped bacon to their feet and skated around.
Sourdough Sam mixed the batter in giant cement mixers. Flip! A perfect golden pancake the size of a UFO.
The hungry lumberjacks cheered for breakfast.
With a belly full of cakes, Paul was ready to work. Johnny Inkslinger kept the books. He used a bucket of ink a day just to cross the T's and dot the I's. He saved 12 barrels of ink one winter just by not dotting the I's. Out in the woods, the work was tough. The logging roads were so twisted, they could tie themselves in knots. But Babe didn't like curves. He just pulled. He pulled that crooked road straight as an arrow. Timber. The logs rolled down to the river. But sometimes the logs got jammed up tight. Babe just nudged them with his horns, and the river flowed free. Business was booming, and the river was busy. But Paul's work wasn't just logging. He was landscaping America. Walking south, Paul needed water for the camp. But his giant water tank sprung a leak. Water gushed out, flooding the plains. Paul grabbed his shovel to guide the water south. He dug and dug, carving a path through the heart of the country. And that, my friends, is how the mighty Mississippi River was born. Soon, steamboats were singing their songs on Paul's River. Out west, the wind was fierce. It blew so hard, it nearly blew Paul's whiskers off. So Paul decided to build a windbreak. He piled rocks higher and higher. Those piles of rock became the Rocky Mountains. Tired from his work, Paul dragged his heavy axe behind him. He didn't notice the axe cutting deep into the earth. Mile after mile, the groove got deeper and wider. The sun baked the exposed earth into brilliant reds and oranges. Today, we call Paul's little mistake the Grand Canyon. Oops! Paul just shrugged and kept walking. Babe didn't mind. He thought it looked quite nice.
They sat and watched the sunset over their handiwork.
Back in Minnesota, a storm caught them. The ground was soft, and Paul's boots sank deep. The rain filled every footprint to the brim. Thousands of footprints became the land of 10,000 lakes. Nature has a way of moving into Paul's footprints. But times were changing. The world was getting crowded. There wasn't much room left for a giant and his blue ox. So they decided to move on, up towards the Arctic Circle, where the trees are still thick and the air is still clean. The lumberjacks waved goodbye to the greatest of them all. Some say they are still there, wandering the wild north.
On quiet nights, you can hear them.
The wind in the pines? That's just Paul sighing. And the thunder? That's just Babe playing around.
Good night, Paul. Good night, Babe.